The other important thing is how eager are they to learn. So because I have this idea or this notion that even if you don't know something, as long as you're eager to learn, you will become the best expert in that subject.
Absolutely.
And I follow that myself. When somebody says me, have you done this, I'm like, no, but I've done this something similar, and I'm sure if I read about it in like 48 hours, I can come back and talk to you about it a lot. Team also, that don't go for the most shiny object or shiny person, like go for somebody who is humble, who is eager to learn, who treats other people well. And then you will have a great team members. To do is every Friday evening I would take a flight from Washington DC to Chicago. I would study on Friday night, take classes Saturday morning, Saturday evening I would take classes, and then catch a late night flight back to my home on Sunday, reach on Saturday night or Sunday morning. And then I would do my homework on Sunday, and then Monday to Friday I will work again. So for 2 years that was my life.
So great evening, audience. Yeah, it's Arun here. I am speaking from Pune, which is, and this is evening time at 6:30. And I also should say great, amazing morning on behalf of Kaushik, because today Kaushik has joined us from a beautiful city called Wilmington, which is on the eastern end of US. Is it correct, Kaushik? Is it Wilmington?
Yeah, so actually I work for a no, actually I work for a firm that is headquartered in Wilmington. I actually live in the suburbs of Washington DC.
And I think this is for the first time that I'm going to make a change when it comes to introducing our guest in this yet another serving of heart-to-heart conversation. Normally, I've started while talking about the experience, but I think today I have to start while talking about the education, because you are talking to somebody who's going to inspire us a lot when it comes to when it comes to learning something, even and when it comes to getting educated, and I think in such a manner that it becomes your second nature. So we are talking to Mr. Kaushik Goswami, and Kaushik comes from Jamshedpur. He is an alumnus of Loyola School. I think anybody who is from eastern part of India, I think for that matter, many people who might be settled globally also, they know Loyola School pretty well. I think this is number one school in Jamshedpur. Little Flower and Loyola
Yes,
is
and
the
arguably probably number one in India sometimes
number one in
because
India.
of the
Yeah.
ICSE result.
Yeah, and this is not the reason why I said that let me make a beginning, let me make a change by talking about education first, because Loyola is just the beginning. Then Kaushik goes to Birla Institute of Technology, Misra, and I had the privilege of spending those 4 years while learning from the professors, and while also learning from Kaushik and some other inspiring colleagues and classmates in those times. Then Kaushik went to the George Washington University School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, where he studied from 1999 till 2001. And then he went to Project Management Institute between 2000. Of course, it's a long association with PMI. And after that, he studied in the University of Chicago Booth School of Business between 2012 and I think 2015. And I think Kaushik, at a time when I know that my young elder daughter has been aspiring to go to some of these institutions, including Cornell. Of course, we are going to talk about Cornell as well, because I think your daughter is in Cornell. It's an amazing experience for me to be talking to somebody. And audience, please come watch this video completely, because we are going to learn a lot about how to fulfill the desire or ambition of some of our children who want to study in some of these best known educational institutions across the world. And then Kaushik started his career. Now coming to the experience part, Kaushik started his career with Tata Steel in 1997. Tata Steel is a great organization. It's a large organization, but I think it was not too large to be able to contain Kaushik in this beautiful, nice place called Jampot, Jamshedpur. I think this was the first time when I heard this name called Jampot. I think which was the name given by Kaushik and some of the people who came from Jamshedpur. I think it's one of the most beautiful cities, Jamshedpur. And Kaushik, after having worked in Tata Steel in Jamshedpur, I think for 1 year and 10 months, he left India. He came to United States of America. He worked in New Jersey in a company called Sprint in the field of some of the words which are Greek to me, radio access network, and some of these things, which actually he has been associated with the latest of technological advancements. And then he joined a company called LCC as the director managed services. And then again, Kaushik comes back to Sprint, where he works for 4 years and 4 months. There is a reason why I'm actually talking about the experience, and we shall come to the topic. It's a very important, very inspiring point, which I'm going to talk about. And then Kaushik comes to a company, he becomes vice president, senior product manager in Wilmington Trust, where he works for more than 4 years. And then he joins as vice president, senior compliance officer in M&T Bank. And then Kaushik again comes back to Wilmington Trust. Kaushik, I have met many people, but I've hardly come across any person who is so loved by the companies, who, while leaving the company, leaves such a good and positive impression among the management team, among all the colleagues, that he is welcomed back not once but twice. And I think this is getting connected with my experience while being with you between 1997 and 1993 and 1997. I recall you used to be one person who always used to maintain a very good cohesive relationship with people from different gangs, just like gangs of Wasepur, in a positive way. In every engineering institution, there are many gangs. There are some gangs which also have got a name given to it. But I think you are one person who always used to be absolutely on a very good talking term, smiling term, working term, studying term with people from different groups, different gangs. And I think that's one of the, since I've been in the field of coaching, Kaushik, there are many mentoring programs which I do. Even today morning, I started my day at 5 o'clock with some coaching programs. I always talk to people while laying a lot of emphasis on interpersonals. Interpersonally, it's all about the way we deal with people. It's all about the way we respect and still work with people in such a manner that actually we build a pool or network, a group of people who are there to support us. It's an amazing moment for me, Kaushik, while welcoming you once again. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's Sunday, it's early in the morning.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And Kaushik, I think it has been a pretty long journey for you. I think almost close to 25 years. When you look back on your journey, which has started from Jamshedpur, Jampot rather, how do you look back? Which are those couple of keywords which come to your mind? And then, of course, we'll progress from here. Welcome once again.
Sure. So first and foremost, Arun, thank you so much for the warm welcome, for the great introduction. I don't know if I deserve it, but I'm really appreciative of your enthusiasm and warm welcome. We have known each other for those 4 years, but I have always followed your career. Congratulations on doing so well, on having so many accomplishments. So I feel a little bit humbled
No,
to be
I'm just
really,
learning from people like you. Thank you so much for this kind
a
words.
person of your stature talking in such great terms about myself. But I will definitely do my best to utilize this time that we have together to definitely help you and your audience get the point across, hopefully.
Sure.
So first and foremost, like it's been a long journey, of course, now it is all becoming about the next generation, about my children, etc. But along the process, I have always believed in a very simple logic or mantra, if you will. And it's something to borrow from Steve Jobs' words. He always said, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." So basically, the more hunger you have, and you think, once you start thinking that I know it all, then it's a big problem. So you have to always think that I need to know more, I need to learn more. And then the other thing is like associating yourself, just like you said, that I always had good relationships with different variety of people, like people who were not so good in studies, people who were acing or topping their
Even people like me who are not
Yeah.
as good as you in the studies, even we used to get a lot of respect and grand welcome. Every time we used to go to your room. So I think we'll talk about it. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so then there were people who were very good at sports, people who were very good at other things, right? So it was always very important to learn from different aspects of life, and I have tried to maintain that. I have tried to definitely, one leadership formula that I always follow and try to implement is that surround yourself with great people. They could be great in their own ways. Just learn from them and try to, even if you can absorb 10% of what they're good at, you will become a better person. So
Very nice.
and yeah, and then going back to early life, as you said, the school played a big role in my forming or shaping up. Great school. I don't want to really go gaga over it, but the associations I formed over there are still good till today. There are a lot of friends in my life who are still from my school time, and I really cherish those relationships and friendship. Some of them live very close by, some of them live far. Even when I went to Europe to visit them, it was like meeting, like, when we were young kids. So a lot of good memories there growing up. Of course, Tata Steel, and that plays a foundational role as well, because my maternal family was all from Jamshedpur.
Yeah.
My entire childhood was spent there. So great. All in all, great. The 4 years of undergraduate was a pretty good experience as well. Great place, Ranchi, Meshra. Very fond memories of that place. A lot of good relationships there as well, including someone like you. And then, of course, a big part of the life has been spent in United States. So now I can safely say that I have been in US longer than I have been in India.
Mhm.
So it has become our home, our country.
Yeah.
And although the love for India is still there, but now being a US citizen, we like, obviously, we pledge allegiance to this country, and this is our country now.
Right.
So all this has happened. The underlying theme of all this, and me still trying to learn, go to different companies and work, like you said, in my history. Sometimes it has been, I would say, intentional. Sometimes it's a little bit accidental. So but all in all, no complaints. Again, just following the mantra that keep learning, keep moving. So in fact, the a slight clarification, maybe, from 2015 till now, actually I have been in the same company, which is Wilmington Trust and M&T Bank. They're just like owned by the same parent group.
Yeah.
I joined them after my MBA as a executive leadership program, where they hire people with MBAs and a little bit experience in other industries to kind of become their future executives. So I have been rotating between the different groups and different organizations which are controlled by different entities. So basically, when I started with M&T Bank, or Wilmington Trust, initially I was into investments and products, hardcore stuff. And then I was moved into the compliance role, and now I'm a chief compliance officer, back to doing a lot bigger and more visible role. So it's just a part of the progression. But again, I'll just stop in a moment. But I wanted to reiterate one more point that you made, is that I do have amazing relationships with the people that I've worked in the past. Like, even my employees or my team members who used to work for me in companies that I've left like years back, like Sprint. You mentioned Sprint and LCC. They still reach out to me, talk to me, seek advice, are still my friends. So I am very proud that if I have to take away one thing from all those years I've spent in those places, it's the relationship that I have left behind, and the good feeling. So even if they get laid off 8 or 10 years down the road from those firms, they reach out to me, and they know I cannot help them get a job because I'm not in the same industry anymore. But still, they seek advice, they seek kind
Mhm.
of counsel, and I feel very happy that I'm still part of their lives.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. And I recall one of the persons I had met when I got into the field of human transformation way back in 2018. He said one thing, that Arun, all that we emotionalize, visualize, and vocalize, finally it materializes. And I think, of course, we spoke about law of attraction later on. It's not that I've read the book, but yeah, people keep on talking about it. I have seen some of the CHR also, albeit at times in a hush tone, they will talk about law of attraction. Actually, this is the reality of life, because this actually works. If I go back in the days of 1993 to 1997, I recall Kaushik always, having spoken about exploring the opportunities in USA and some of these best of institutions. Say there is no surprise at all that it's not only Kaushik, but also his daughter, they are studying, they have studied, or they are studying in some of the best of academic institutions across the world. Because I know Cornell is something, I know it's a rare opportunity. I think the college, the institution in which your daughter has been studying. So I think it's all about this thinking. And I think, as you rightly said, that it has got to do a lot to do with, it has got a lot to do with the school education, maybe the kind of teachers who are surrounding you, maybe the kind of people who are always talking about going abroad and working in some of the best of colleges. I think that shapes our mind in a very big way, because today I know it's a very, very powerful impact. Because a few days ago I was having conversation with Suman Prakash, and we were laughing a lot while thinking about our childhood days when we didn't even know the meaning of cat and gmail and some of these things. It actually has lots of impact, because today I know that it's all about the company. I think people know that Jim Rohn had said, and it's something which is one of the little exercises which I inspire my mentees to do, and that is to just write down the names of 5 to 7 people with whom you spend the maximum time on day-to-day basis, and you become the sum total average of, not total average of these people. So it's very important that you keep in the company of people who are maybe bigger than you, better than you, and then even if you can learn 10 to 20%, I think we shall be certainly a better version. Another thing which I see, so congratulations for this message, for inspiring us to get this message, and I think you are the best example in my memory. Kaushik, another thing is that you also said something which is very important. I think you have done it, not said. I've seen many people who join an organization and then they get into the comfort zone. Okay, job is there now. It's okay now. Let me just go Monday morning and do my work till Friday, and then let me spend my day while having some fun on weekends. And then again, Monday begins. And then I've seen people getting into this rut for many, not only for many months, for many years. And then by the time they realize that other people are learning and they are growing and they are progressing, these people are stagnated. And I think, as somebody had said, that even in today's competitive world, even if a person wants to be at the same place, it's like treadmill, you have to keep on moving. And I've seen these people who have stagnated, and they are actually going back, as in comparison with the surrounding, which is actually progressing. So this is another message which I would like every person who is watching this video interaction to get and to reflect on. If somebody can't think of one new certification or learning or something which a person has learned over last 1 month, there is a serious problem. We are not even talking about here. Even I think people have to keep on learning something with every passing month. And I think Kaushik is the best example. Kaushik, when I reflect back on the days of VIT Mishra, I think of three things. I think while thinking about you, first thing is that you had this beautiful handwriting of the way you used to take notes. I think your notes were in high demand. I still recall, if we come to the world of sales and marketing today, people would have been ready to pay some dollars for your notes. I recall that. The second thing which I remember about you is, of course, we spoke about it, your kind of bonhomie, your camaraderie with people from different backgrounds, sports or whatever. I think performance, and people, I think you always used to very good at maintaining this very good network and friendships, relationships. Third thing is that I recall, even in those days when people like us used to carry some little, speakers and all that, you had this state of the art Sony speaker. And I still recall, there was this English song, and he used to tell us, Arun, how many helicopters they have used to create this initial sound effect. 11 helicopters. I don't know what is the song. I think people are going to laugh at me when they get to know the name of the song. It's a pretty popular song. What is that song, Kaushik?
Yeah, it was a Pink Floyd song.
Pink
So
Floyd. So people, please,
basically,
audience, do not laugh at me. But yeah, I recall Pink Floyd is pretty popular. But Kaushik knew, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's the Wall, like very famous song of Pink Floyd, where initially that sound comes, and the song is The Wall. So
The
the
Wall,
album,
yeah.
so, yeah.
Certainly. So Kaushik, I think, always had this love for life, music, beautiful writing, doing things in a very neat way, and of course thinking big. I think that's very important, Kaushik. So would you like to, Kaushik, say something about what is that which makes some people think a little differently? I'm not using those words like big and all that. We all know that's exactly it is. But if you can share something, because I see that there is one that is the first most important criteria between which makes a difference among people. There are people who've got all the talent and still they live in the same, domain. You know what you're talking about. Any thoughts from you on this?
Sure. Yeah, sure. No, absolutely. And regarding the handwriting, now it's all digital, so it's very hard to, like, even when I'm writing on a tablet, like, it's either an iPad or it's a Surface, and my daughter now says your handwriting is terrible. So hearing from you that my handwriting was good is like a flashback.
It was
So thank you so much for.
beautiful. That's
Yeah, I
right.
need to probably record this and send it to my daughter that this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
what I
please,
got
please. I
for.
know, I know. Not only me, I
So
think everybody used to talk about it. Yeah.
right. So yeah, those are funny memories though. Like my notes used to stay less in my room and more in others' rooms. So but anyway. Then I started to make like one. I used to make six notebooks for six subjects. Then I started making one notebook for all six subjects so that people don't run away with my all other notebooks. That also people used to tear the pages and take it away. So like it was funny. But
Kaushik always
so
had this power and ability to, so that and other people used to get some benefit out of him. I think you were talking about long, times long by long gone by.
yeah.
Go on. Yeah.
So again, I think it's easier said than done. But as I said, sometimes some things were intentional, some things just fell into place. I was a little bit fortunate, and some things didn't happen. But again, the whole idea is that I love a book that I read long time back. I don't know if you are familiar with that book, but I'll tell you what that book is. That book is called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Well, yeah.
And there is a favorite quote before it became famous by one of the Bollywood movies. It says, when you want something, all the universe conspires to help you achieve it. So like that became a very famous dialogue, like अगर किसी को शिद्दत से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात तुम्हें उससे मिलाने की कोशिश करती है. So that it came way later in a Bollywood movie, but before that there was this book, right? And it's a classic novel where a boy named Santiago embarks on a journey seeking treasure in Egyptian pyramids after having a dream about it, and on the way meet mentors, falls in love, most importantly, learns the true importance of who he is and how to improve himself and focus on what really matters in
Yeah.
life. So
Yeah.
this has been kind of my
Beautiful.
story also in a nutshell, right? Like I had this dream of going to US. You will be probably surprised that compared to some of my classmates in even in BIT Mesra,
Mm.
I had no idea. I was from Jamshedpur, where there were not many resources. I did not have a
Mm.
computer at that time. I did not know how to study about it. I had one Barron's GRE book, which cost like 100 rupees at that time. And that was it. That was all I knew about coming to US, whereas there were some friends of mine who had done research on, they were from Delhi, they were from Calcutta,
Yeah.
they could go to the US consulate or the some consulting services. They knew all about the colleges, they knew all about the ways to get in and all these things. So I was kind of in a handicap. Yes, I had a great GPA, I had a good background, but I was running blind. Like it's almost like uh, driving a car with not knowing what you're doing. so, but what helped me is that I had that burning passion that yes, someday I'll go. I learned from people who had done their research. I talked to them. I kind of even copied them sometimes. Like I applied to the universities they applied to. Sometimes I got in and they didn't. Like so I got the scholarship and sometimes unfortunately they didn't. So as I said, some of it was luck. Some of it was just having that dream and that passion to do it, and it just happened. So essentially that's the story. That is how I came to US. Like, of course, I was also very fortunate to work in a very cutting edge technology when I was in the Tatas. A lot of people think Tata Steel, people are just going to the shop floor and working on some stuff, and or you're in the graduate trainee period, so you're not really learning anything if you're in the first 2 years. My story was again very different. I chose not to go through the campus selection route to join Tatas. I actually applied from outside as an
Oh,
experienced individual,
wow.
and the interviewers were shocked. Maybe you don't know this because I got through actually campus recruitment. I got into an IT company in
Mm.
India, very well known name. But then I decided that if I have to go to US and I have to focus on then staying with my parents for a little bit, and then essentially get the most out of, save money so that I can spend it on my plane ticket to go to US. My father had retired by the time I completed my education, and he did not have the means to send me to US with his own money at that point. So I saved money, stayed 2 years in Tatas, and I actually joined as a senior officer directly over there, not as a graduate trainee. So that's the position
Okay.
typically. Yeah,
Okay.
typically people get after spending 2 years as a
Yeah,
graduate
minimum
trainee.
2 years they have to spend before they become
Yeah,
senior officer. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and then there is a bond and all these things. So I circumvented all that. I did not go through any bond. I did not go through anything. I in fact made the most of the opportunity, and I got promoted to assistant manager by the time I left. So it was all good in that sense. And that experience I got for that 2 years. People today talk about industrial automation in industry 4.0, and wireless robotics controlling things. And I had done all that 25 years back, if you believe it or
wow.
not. And like it was called different things at that time, but that experience helped me when I came to US, because I had worked with Motorola, I had worked with German firms, I had worked with South Korean firms, and I felt that if I can deal with these kind of diverse people, I can do anything. So that confidence, that knowledge and confidence really helped me when I came to US. I did not feel out of place. I did not feel challenged. So, and that helped. Like I did, as you said, like I kept on learning. I kept on moving. Even when I was in US, I was not in one company for more than 4 years. And so I joke now, like this current firm that I work for, I've been in 8 years. I have been here. And I say this is the longest I've ever been in one place, including like education.
Yeah.
They must be doing something well, and I must be getting old that I'm staying here for such a long time.
It's a
But
great,
does
it's
not.
a great story. It's a great accomplishment, I'll say.
Yeah,
Kaushik, and another thing which I've seen about your career path is about your career progression is you have not given like to a smaller time also to organizations. 4 years is a good time. At a time when
yeah,
people change organizations after 1.5 years also I've seen. I mean that's
yeah.
not the time. You can't actually do something significant while being in one
Yeah.
organization if you do not give at least 3 to 4 years. Because I've seen
Also, you have
people
to see
sitting
if
at
you're
home.
going
Yeah.
from one level to another level progressively. Like if you're making lateral moves,
Yes.
1 year, 1.5 years is okay. But if you want to go to the next level, then you have to give a little bit more time.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
more importantly, even if you're in one organization, sometimes try to change your role, try to change the team, try to move. Like I'll give you an example. When I was in Sprint between 2011 and 2015, that was 4 years again. I was in actually four different roles in that time. Like I went back, I was leading a $3 billion rollout
Yeah.
initially as a senior program manager, and then I moved upstream into network development, because I was like, okay, I'm done with the deployment side. Now I need to go and develop the roadmap. So people are talking about 5G today. I did it in 2014, 2013, and 5G is coming out when? In 2022, 7 8 years later, right? So basically, I was in network development with Ericsson, Nokia, all the big names of the world,
Yeah.
doing all that stuff,
Yeah.
and so you have to really, as I said, I think the whole mantra is, I'll sound like a broken record now, but stay hungry, stay foolish, keep learning. There is no limitation to learn. I mean, within a same firm, even if you're in the same firm, you feel nice with the culture, you connect with the culture, you like the way they are treating you, you like your colleagues and your this thing. Try to seek opportunities within your group first. If there are other activities that you can do, other roles you can play, even laterally, that will give you an opportunity. When the time for promotion comes, they'll see how many different things you have really dabbled with, and you're possibly good at and have got results with. So it is, promotion is just not like, okay, the boss leaves and now it is my turn to get promoted. They'll see how many different things you have done, how many groups you have interacted with. So those are things that are important. It'll help
Very,
you.
very
uh,
powerful, very powerful. I think I can easily see 3 to 4 very important points which people can reflect on because it's not about knowledge. I tell, I always inspire and share with people that it's not about knowledge, it's about doing. And actually, I've done it. For example, so many people talk about breaking comfort zone. You've actually done it. I was talking to Sumant Prakash and he said that he had joined, and of course, I could see that he had joined Tata Motors in Jamshedpur, and then he spent 5 years while being in Tata Motors before he could break his comfort zone and take a decision to leave Tata Motors, which was a well settled job and all that. But I think in your case, I can see that within less than 2 years you have done it, right? So I think we can see that kind of the breaking comfort zone. Learning is second lesson, which is very important. The way you explained to us. Third is something. Third is all about thinking big, and as you spoke about this, the alchemist, how people can keep on learning and keep on thinking big and keep on building new skills. I think I can see that you have been learning new things, and I think in many cases you actually learned something much before the time also. 5 to 10 years when the rest of the world started learning. Another thing which we can see is, which is very powerful, it's all about working with people, building very good, enriching, feel good relationships while still being pretty candid. It's all possible. We can be candid and we can be capable and we can still build very strong relationships based on trust and mutual respect, which is all possible in a world where people become cynical, saying that no, it's nothing works, and no politics and this and that, and sucking up and all that people. So no, I think let's not become cynical. It's possible for you to build a good career while still being good to people. So can we, if you can just go back to this point, Kaushik, I've seen many people struggling while maintaining a very good working association with people in a manner that they are welcomed back in the organization. Because I worked as the CHR in many organizations. I've seen that the people who are welcomed back are just less than 1% of people, and they are the best performers. I have seen it very clearly. Otherwise, companies do not take people back. In your case, I've done it not once but twice. I think already we have shared some career guidance. I think today we're talking to Kaushik, the career counselor, for next 5 minutes time. Would you like to add to some of these things which you said so that audience gets benefited? I think this is a very important point. It's a big achievement. Yeah. Some other.
Yes, sure. Yeah, I will definitely share, at least from my personal experience and standpoint. I think what has worked is that never leave in a bad note. Like even if you're leaving, of course, I have been lucky that I've never been, I've always been identified as a very good or a top performer. So obviously, whenever I have moved on from a place, it has never been because of a layoff or downsizing or anything. It has always been that I have left because I had some bigger fish to fry or bigger things to achieve, right? And I have always explained to them why I'm leaving. Like even when I left Tata's, I still remember the discussion I had with the director of automation division, Tata Steel. He said, you have such a bright future over here. Why are you leaving? You could become me one day. You can become a general manager. You can be like, living
You
a
could have
plus
become vice president automation in Tata Steel, but yeah.
Yeah, so exactly. So he said, "Why are you leaving? I have such high hopes for you." And I said, "Sir, I'm leaving because I have a big dream. I want to do all these things, like yeah, and someday if I'm fortunate enough, I'll come back." And he said, "Please do come back." So that is the kind of things that I really always cherish, that whenever I have moved on from a place, I have always had this door open, like and I have kept in touch with people. I have always, and not only the people at the top, it's the people that who have worked with you, your colleagues, your peers. Even they should feel that not threatened when you come back. They should actually welcome you back. And in some cases, I have come back to become their manager or their bosses. And the relationship has been still great because I have never, and I still do, I never think myself as I'm their superior. That's such a wrong way to view it. It's always should be that, I was their peer, I'm still their peer. I just have an added responsibility to make things happen, and that is basically what I believe in. Obviously you are from HR, you have heard the term servant leadership, you have heard the terms of, like how to empower your own people. There has been instances where I have had people who are way more knowledgeable and senior than me, smarter than me in many senses, have better maybe education than me, have gone to I have a guy who reports to me who has gone to Yale and done Yale Law School, is like one of the best law school in the world, where all the presidents of United States have gone and all these things, right? So there's a guy who went to Yale, and he works for me, and he has such tremendous good relationship with me. So all you have to do is
Beautiful.
treat people with respect. Yeah, you have to treat people with respect, give them, even if they are part of your team, treat them as your equal, and everything will fall in place. And regarding going back to the same place, the reason someone would want you back is they still see some value in you, maybe added value, because they want you back because you went back, you
You have
got what you
got new
needed.
ideas, new
Yeah,
ideas.
you got that extra experience that will now help them. So I'll give you the example of why Sprint hired me back in 2011. I left them in 2007, and I went and did this whole consulting thing. Like, like I started new product line, service line. I rolled out so many technologies. I traveled the country. So when it came for them to for a very critical project, my old boss gave me a call back and said, hey, I got this responsibility to do this, and I cannot do it without you. Will you consider
Mm.
coming back?
Wow.
Like, because you have done so
Beautiful.
many different things in the last 4 years. I think you are the best person to deal with all this, because you can do vendor management, you can do like, the financial side of it, the commercial side of it, you need the know the technical side of it. I need you, otherwise I'll
Mm.
not be able to do this. So I said, yeah, let me think about it. So I spoke to my wife, and at that time I was looking to travel less, because I was starting to do my MBA and all these things, so that I could focus on my MBA. So I said, yeah, it meets both the requirement. Like, somebody wants me,
Yeah.
and also it helps me slow down my travel and other things. So
Yeah.
let me take that opportunity. So it should meet both the sides requirements. Like,
Mhm.
it is not only the requirement of your employer, you also have to see, are you, when you are going back, is it going to be the right move for yourself and as well as for your employer? Only when both the sides kind of need each other should you make that kind of move back. So
Beautiful, beautiful. No, this is amazing. Kaushik, another thing, of course, we spoke about it. Let me change my background. So, yeah, so this is one of the MBA colleges where you studied, I think,
right.
Chicago Booth School. So, another thing,
Yeah,
another lesson, I think we already spoke about it, the learning. Uh, of course, people have by now they know that you have been a person who has been getting new degrees, new certifications, new learnings. Would you like to talk a bit about what actually inspired you to keep on learning and to remain a student? I mean, a student in inverted comma while being in some of these prestigious MBA colleges, even till now, till as recent as a few years ago. I think it's a very important point which audience has to
sure.
get, because many people know, but they exactly not they don't get it here.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a, I will also say, not everybody appreciates the lifelong learning or late in life learning, because in India the culture is to learn earlier in your life, and then maybe
And then
later on just
learn and earn,
get the
actually,
results of it.
people say, but actually both
Learn and
go
earn,
hand in
exactly.
hand. Yeah,
Yeah, but both go hand in hand. Particularly, I'll tell you a funny story. Like, sorry if I'm going a little bit in the
please,
back,
please go
but
on.
when I was in my 11th and 12th standard, right? Like many other good students, I thought I could take biology and chemistry and physics and math, and I could crack both engineering and medicine, right?
Yeah.
And I actually did crack both. But then I did not want to join medicine, because I was thinking that, oh, who will read all the life, who will know about all the new medicines and treatments that are coming out? I'll become an engineer, and then I'll just learn it, and then I'll just go and have a job. Because I was looking at the people who are working in the Tatas and all these things. They would just not have a continuous learning. They would probably, at that time, I'm not saying now, but way back then, like 30 years back, right?
If you can take a
um
pause there, I think if you can take a pause, it's very interesting. Even I didn't know that you had
sure.
cracked both engineering and medicine. I mean,
Yeah,
which year was that when you cracked medicine? Because engineering I knew, medicine I didn't know.
that was 93. So
I think-
basically,
Oh, okay. Before coming
yeah.
to Michelin.
Yeah. So, but basically, the whole issue became that there were other personal reasons why not to join. But one of the reasons was that I did not want to read lifelong at that point. But then I realized, after getting into engineering and even beyond, like, my eye opener was when I went to work for the Tatas. That there is no way you can just read your textbooks or your classes in engineering and be a qualified person for all your life. There's
Hmm.
just no way.
Hmm.
You have to keep learning. You have to learn new things, read new things, research new things. And then my whole life changed with the internet exposure. Like, when we were
Hmm.
in college, that was way back in 90s. That was, India was just opening up at that time.
Yeah.
We didn't have internet in our college. We had one or two computer labs where we used to do some
There used to be
programming.
queue.
Yeah. So basically, internet changed everything. Like, when I went to work for the Tatas, I first time got access to the internet.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, there is so much information out there. How can you not learn? So
Hmm.
anyway, fast forward to, like, 2010. I was in a director role. I was doing great. I was working with a lot of big companies, big names. Then I got exposed to financial world. Like, I went through, my company was going through a privatization, which means basically you are listed in the stock index, but then with the 2008 economic downturn that happened in the US because of the mortgage crisis, a lot of companies fell into trouble. Like the stock prices were low, they were not able to raise enough money from the market. So many companies decided, particularly the mid-size and the small-size companies, decided to go private. Like get acquired by the private equity firms and basically work with private funding, right?
Yeah.
It is always easier rather than doing the public funding, stock exchange, and all these things, because your hands are tied in many senses in those
Yeah.
circumstances. So I was part of the management at that time, and I went through this whole cycle of private acquisition, and I was like, oh my God, this is so interesting. Like, of course, I till that time I was more like technology, more like engineering management and all these things. But then when I got the flavor of the financial world, I was like, I need to get a degree in finance.
Oh,
So
wow. Oh,
and
wow.
basically it was a kind of a inner dream in me, if you will, because many people don't know, when I was in my high school, actually I had done accounting as my extra subject, not computer science. So I had exposure to economics and accounting way back when I was in my high school. So it was always there. I used to love, actually at one point I wanted to take commerce, but then, as it happens with Indian parents and Indian families, if you're a good student, you're kind of pushed into engineering and medicine. And anyway, so that's what pushed me towards looking into colleges that are very good, world renowned in the finance. So I had three or four choices. One was obviously University of Pennsylvania Wharton School of Business. One was New York University Stern School of Business, and then obviously University of Chicago Booth School of Business. So University of Chicago Booth School of Business, if you look at the rankings in Economic Times, US News, you will see it is even higher than Harvard. It is
Oh,
like number one in business, number one, two, it changes.
wow.
Of course, like in finance, it's probably the number one, or sometimes it becomes two, Wharton becomes number one. So all these things are there, and I am so glad that I have. So you have heard of Raghuram Rajan, right? Who was the
Mm,
RBI governor. So he teaches there.
mm,
There are teachers. There are like so many 80 or 82 Nobel laureates. President
mm.
Barack Obama used to teach there. So it's a phenomenal school, and
Phenomenal.
the people
Phenomenal.
the people I have learned with, or learned from, the professors, they are just they're just masters in their field, in economics, in banking, in finance. It's just a powerhouse. When I went back and joined my firm in banking, there was a crisis going on in terms of money market reform. My senior management was completely clueless what to do. I reached out to my professor in my school and got help, and they were like, "Oh my God, this guy is so amazing that he could solve this problem." But it was only possible because of this college and association. So the point I'm trying to make here is, you have to be also very careful of choosing where you attend school,
Mm,
uh, particularly when you have the choice. Like
mm,
when we were in the India, when we were in the undergraduate, sometimes we did not have that many choices or that many options, but I still did. I chose BIT Mesra for a reason, over other things. But particularly in graduate studies, I'll say, and even in undergraduate studies nowadays, there are so many options. You have to choose where you want to take your career. So I consciously wanted to. I thought that I have done a lot of engineering. Now it's time to go and do something that I really want to enjoy, which is work in the financial sector, learn about all the investments and learn about all the, equities and this and that. So I chose a college that will make me help, or that will, sorry, help me make that transition. And this was the college, because, everybody knew, or knows that University of Chicago is like a powerhouse in economics and finance. And honestly, I got so many job offers coming out of there. I was surprised myself, because I was like, oh, I'm already like close to 40. Who will hire me in the financial sector? Because typically people start very young and then they grow, right?
mm.
But anyway, that was the story of landing up over there,
It's
and
beautiful.
coming out
Beautiful.
of it.
How could you manage this learning while, how could you manage your work and studies both, having learning both together?
Yeah, so that's a interesting thing. So University of Chicago, another reason of going there and not going to Wharton was, although I got into both, but the opportunity that Chicago gave me was that I could do a weekend MBA. They call it a weekend
Mm,
MBA.
Wow.
So what
Wow.
I used to do is every Friday evening I would take a flight from Washington DC to Chicago, and I would study on Friday night, take classes. Saturday morning, Saturday evening, I would take classes and then catch a late night flight back to my home on Sunday, reach on Saturday night or Sunday morning, and then I would do my homework on Sunday, and then Monday to Friday I will work again. So for 2 years that was my life, and
Wow,
it took a lot of
Kaushik, I
personal
think
sacrifice.
this is. We'll just take a pause here. It's an amazing, amazing story which people have, real story which people have to pay attention to. Because I have been in the field of coaching, I have seen that people think a lot when it comes to investing in their life and career. Of course, most of the mornings I do some kind of thing. And let me change my background. Let me share with you one thing. So this is one of the things, and of course we'll go back to what you're saying is very important. So these are the basic tenets of life transformation, and anybody who is not happy with career, life, and whatever relationships, he can actually become version 2.2. He can become much better in terms of mindset by working on mindset, habits, vision board, by getting a meaning in life, vision, purpose, core values, and all that, and then setting goals and health and all that. And all of this happen, I tell people, if you just have got the right coach, as I said, getting the right college, choosing the right college is very important, choosing the right coach also is very important. So this is one thing which got me into this field. When it comes to mindset, it's a mind map. Once I blow, it becomes pretty big. When it comes to mindset, there are three aspects which I inspire people to pay attention to. One is positive, second is winning mindset, and third is learning mindset. Learning mindset is something which is very important. I think you are another best example, great example for this. And Kaushik, you must have taken maybe hundreds of flights. And here are people who think 10 times before spending 100 rupees on their self development. So I think it's a great, good that I asked this question. And then, of course, a lot of people do a lot of things. So this is the detailed version of the same mind map. But I think I'm so happy that I asked this question, because this is a very powerful message on which people have to reflect on. For 2 years, while working full time, while spending on weekends, while taking two flights, while still, I think giving some time to your family, because I think you have been a great parent, and we are going to talk a bit about your about the parenting lesson. Then I think for next 10 minutes time, of course, we shall request Kaushik to become now parenting counselor. So from career counselor. Very nice. Anything else which you'd like to add? I think it's very interesting story which you're talking about. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think I couldn't contain me. Very, very powerful message.
Sure, no, no, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I mean, it did take sacrifices on all sides, like my wife, my family, and myself. For 2 years, it's not easy to. I missed a lot of social functions. Our friend circle shrunk. Like a lot of people used to call us for social events, and we always had to either Shoma would go alone or she would not go. And amidst all this, my older daughter was already, in elementary school, so I missed quite a bit of her, maybe fourth, fifth grade, which is important time in her life. Um, but my wife was
Yeah.
at that time she was getting into figure skating. So my wife did a lot of the, she did a lot of the
Mm.
run around and everything. So, but then when I finished my MBA, I maybe got over involved in my daughter's life, and from middle school onwards, I have really invested a lot of time with her, volunteering for her school and other activities. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I try to make up for it, but of course, time lost is hard to make up. But then there is also a philosophy that I would like to share with you, Arun, before we
Yeah.
transition into um,
Yeah.
into the parenting part. So there are obviously four things that I really um, follow. One is focus, eliminate distractions. You can only do things that you can do. Simplify everything, as much as you can, and take responsibility. If you have failed, you failed. If you have to miss something, you'd say that, okay, I'm going to miss something for this time, but then I'll make up for it. And then if you fall behind, take a leap forward. That's and these
This
are all
absolutely
actually, yeah.
goes without
So
saying. You go and go. Yeah.
yeah, and so that is why I was saying, like, I was not there for 2.5 years, and I'm trying to overcompensate for that now.
And it goes without saying, I think what you did is absolutely the best way to lead life and lead career, because of course, as you said that you had a lot of opportunities which came your way. and I think we spoke about the learning. So tomorrow morning, today is Sunday. Tomorrow morning at 5:30 again we have got a session. So I do a session in the morning at 5:30 to 6:30 where the focus is on focus, focus, focus. We spoke about focus. People actually sit together, sit in silence for some time. They reflect on their last 24 hours, and then the idea is to build focus towards their goals or become absolutely focused towards their goals. And that's the reason people also do their vision board and goals and all that in a world which is full of distractions. So I think I'm going to invite you as one of the guest speakers in. Maybe if you're going to spend some 15 20 minutes and 30 minutes time, we'll change the timing so that we can maybe your evening time. I think I'll be very happy if you can also talk to the audience for some time. People will keep on joining me. Amazing, Kaushik. And before you go to the topic of parenting, I think audience, let me share with you. I went through the page of Kaushik on Facebook, and I think no surprises that he has traveled across the world. You see Kaushik enjoying the best of ice creams, and then in London, and then I don't know, I mean, different parts of the world. So I think, yes, one has to pay the price, but then the rewards are yummy, right? I mean, I'm going to share some of the pictures with your permission, but it was amazing to see. I went on a scrolling and I saw, I think if I show some of those pictures to my wife, she's going to take a lot and going to follow me. What about me going and seeing some of the places? Amazing, Kaushik. This is amazing. Now, let's talk a bit about parenting. And before that, Kaushik, you must be hiring many people. Would you like to talk about two or three qualities? I think by now you have already given a very good idea about what is that which makes people, succeed in life. But would you like to talk a bit about some of the qualities which you look for while hiring people?
Yeah, sure. I mean, again, we look for several things. Diversity being one of them is very important. You need to have diversity in background. You need to have diversity in thought. You need to have diversity in physical characteristics like age, gender, everything, right? Over here also, racial makeup is an important factor. So we
Yeah,
consider all that, of
very
course.
important.
The other important thing is how eager are they to learn. So because I have this idea or this notion that even if you don't know something, as long as you're eager to learn, you will become the best expert in that subject.
Absolutely.
And I follow that myself. When somebody says me, have you done this, I'm like, no, but I've done this something similar, and I'm sure if I read about it in like 48 hours, I can come back and talk to you about it a lot. And so
Absolutely
um,
great.
so that is what I always look for in a person when I'm talking to them, when I'm interviewing them. And I tell my team also that don't go for the most shiny object or shiny person, like go for somebody who is humble, who is eager to learn, who treats other people well. And then you will have a great team member. You will have always a person who will be and along the way, if you get somebody who has attended good schools, has a great background, excellent. That But first and foremost quality is find somebody who will be humble and willing to learn. Because once people have that ego that I know it all, I don't need to learn, I am done, and I am better than you, then it's very difficult to maintain the team
They
dynamics.
can certainly not enjoy some of these places and dollars of ice creams and those beautiful moments, which of course I'm going to share, unless they pay attention to the habit of learning. And I think you said something which is very powerful. But I've always been telling people that it's not about the teacher or the whatever facilitator. It's not about whatever. I don't use the word teaching. It's all about all that we can do is to inspire people to learn. That's all. It depends more on the student, inverted comma, receiver, because hunger for learning is something which is a very rare quality. By the way, I think Kaushik, I think you know it. And I've seen that. And those people who come, because there are many people who join the morning sessions, and those who have got the hunger to transform, they will make the best of it. And those who can't, they will stop waking up early in the morning after two sessions, and then they will go back to their old original habits. Another thing is that in our society, people have been having some of these lines or sentences which we have been hearing since childhood days, which are actually giving a wrong message. First, you learn and then you earn. No, it both goes together. You keep on learning, earning, learning, earning, learning, earning. Both happen together. One has to be a student till the last day of having a great life. This is very interesting. Coming to the topic of parenting, I think audience have wanted this topic to come because I saw I went through a Facebook page and I've seen that your daughter is a debater, is a skater, is a co-founder of a company. Can you tell something about her? Because this is awesome, and all of this despite you being busy for 2 years while taking I think 8 flights every month. I think very interesting. So tell us something about parenting. How exactly it happens? Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I'm not an expert in parenting, but definitely I've been lucky that
Yeah.
my older daughter, who is now a freshman in Cornell University, has been also a very motivated person. She is also very smart and motivated, eager to. She and I talk about everything in the world, like from artificial intelligence to politics to like current events to history. She has luckily she has imbibed a lot of my qualities. We both love history. We are a history buff. We love talking about different topics, and I think that has translated. She's also very good with people. That has kind of translated her being well accepted. But I think she's more motivated than I am, or I was at her age. Definitely the kind of routine she went through for skating was my motivation. Like she would wake her mom up at 5:30 in the morning
Oh.
to drive her to the skating ring, and from there she used to directly go to school. She went to a very special school, the number one high school in America, called Thomas
Oh.
Jefferson High School of Science and Technology. It's a very competitive process to get in, and very very smart kids go there,
Hmm.
um, whose IQs are out of the chart. But she went there, and then basically she went through a very rigorous 4 years of high school, and
Hmm.
then she got into college. I mean, if she really wanted, she could have got to a even a better brand college, but she chose to go to Cornell because of several reasons. She wanted to still do skating over there, and one of the U.S. Olympics team member is actually her friend and skates with her in Cornell.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Model, yes.
so a lot of good things. I mean, she has got a lot of good qualities, and more than me, I think all those trophies you see in the background is hers. There is this whole wall over here. That's Taekwondo. She's a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo too, and then there is this wall over here which you cannot see. It's facing me.
Hmm.
Is like,
If you
we
can
have
take a
got all
picture
these
and send it
medals.
to me, I'll edit it. While editing, I'll put that picture. Yeah. So audience,
Sure.
in the background, in my background, you can see Cornell University. I think there are many pictures. Beautiful place, is beautiful background. And
This
then
is my
Kaushik
yeah. This is
background, you see all the trophies which the daughter has got. Yeah, yeah. You're saying something.
Yeah, so this is basically my study, family room, etc. So basically, you can see the background. That's my wife's plants over there, and those trophies. There's a trophy cabinet over here. There is a medal stand over here. So
Wow.
a lot of pride. I think we take in our
Yeah.
daughters achieving what they did. So
Beautiful. My elder daughter, of course, I think there is one similarity between both of us. Like you, also, I am the only gentleman in my home. So two daughters, And my elder daughter is in IB board, and she always talks about external, some other. She keeps on researching USA, Canada, this and that. And I know,
sure.
so I think the moment she sees this video, she's going to ask me a question. Papa, can I talk to Kaushik uncle? I mean, it's very interesting. Kaushik, this is very interesting, very, very inspiring to talk to you. Kaushik, of course, I spoke a bit about your love for music. I'm pretty sure you also are a person and you spoke about history, your love for history. Would you like to talk a bit about some inspiring movies? And of course, you spoke about a couple of books which you would like to recommend to the audience.
Yeah, I mean, I am not a very big movie buff, but I watch very different things, like, anything and everything from science fiction to thrillers to historical movies. I mean, um, I don't know if I can name a. So sometimes I watch movies that are like very light-hearted, like
Hmm.
not very
Okay.
deep,
Okay.
like I don't watch many Bollywood movies nowadays, but yeah, if a good one comes around, like, but if
Hmm.
everybody is watching, then I'll go and watch it,
So
etc.
got getting it. No, no, this is same as me. It's absolutely same in my case. But I think you spoke a lot about books and history, and I'm pretty sure you might be watching some of these things on Netflix, which have got the science and a lot of new things and historical,
Yeah,
real
yeah.
life documentaries, which are very inspiring. For example, very
Yeah,
interesting.
I do like things that are a cross between fiction and history. Like I used to love the series Game of Thrones. Like it's my personal favorite because it has got great background music. It has got, like some history mixed with, things like that. So obviously, I have very different variety of taste when it comes to watching something.
No,
So
this is very interesting. Maybe since you spoke very interestingly about the fact that you like a mix of love and fiction, maybe you can check some of my books, which are maybe if I get a chance, I will certainly see that some of my books reach you. They're all a marriage between reality and fiction. So they all have got 50% fiction, 50% reality, and all in the field of
no, I have
interesting.
read. Yeah, I have seen your book and your work. I mean, you're doing amazing work, and I really, I
Kind
today my family was asking, who are you talking to? I'm like, oh, this friend of mine. He's a big author in India. Like he has done so well. So, in fact, it is my honor to be even talking to you
Thank
now
you so
that
much,
you.
Kaushik. Thanks for your kind words. Very, very inspiring for me to talk to you. And I'm pretty sure this video, of course, I'll also create, apart from this full, maybe 1 hour long video, I'm also going to create small clips which I'll share with people so that people consume it at times better. Very nice. So, Kaushik, suppose if and when we decide to write a book, somebody decides to write a book on your life and journey and your experiences so far. Of course, this is all about journey, and of course, a lot of new and shining and more shining milestones are going to come. We are pretty sure. What do you think could be the title of the book? It's 1 hour, Kaushik. We didn't even know that it's 1 hour. We started at
Yeah.
6:30, at time is 7:34. It's more than 1 hour. It has been so engrossing an interaction, though I've had many interactions, but this is something which is very, very it has got a lot of substance to it. That's the reason I just kept my focus on some of these, and the idea was to gain as much from you as possible. Yeah. So
Sure.
what
Yeah.
do you think could
I'm
be the
a
title of the book?
Yeah, I'm a very talkative person, and I think we used to talk a lot when we used to stay across each other, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so great question. I think I'm not going to be very creative or imaginative on the fly, but I think the name of the book will be Go for More. Like that will be my so it's Go for More, like
Wow.
G
Wow.
Go for More.
Got it.
So
Beautiful.
basically, because that's my whole philosophy. Like it doesn't mean that you be greedy or you like just go for more money or this thing. What I mean is go for more is can be applied to so many different things. Achieve beyond your capabilities, achieve beyond your dreams, keep dreaming, keep hungry, stay foolish, like
Wow.
keep learning. So that's why it is go for more, I think is appropriate. It is true for everything. Like I'll tell you another example of how I keep learning. It's not only in the studying, like people might think
Yeah.
I'm only studying. I took up golf pretty late in my life and I self-learned it. I watched videos after videos and I would go out into the driving range and I would practice what I watched in the videos.
Yeah.
Um, Same thing, I'm playing tennis again after many years with my younger daughter. Because I used to play tennis after I came to US, obviously learned myself again. And then now I'm becoming a better tennis player playing with her. So like always go for more. That's the story. Like go for more, go beyond your capability, even if it hurts, it pains. Like now playing tennis is becoming difficult because you age, you do not run so much well. So but still I'm playing. I have joined the gym to improve my physical condition so that I can play better with her, to challenge her more.
Beautiful, beautiful. In the backdrop, there are some pictures of some of the places which Kaushik has been visiting. I think this is Cornell University, and I'm pretty sure there are many places that we visited. I think we spoke about books, we spoke about music, we spoke about movies, and some of these things. Would you like to talk about some of the places which inspired you the most? The places which you fell in love with, because I think you have visited across the world. So of course we can spend some time on talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, my dream or my goal still is that I want to visit all the World Heritage sites, like World Heritage sites, deep with history. Both my daughters are big fans of Egypt. We still are planning a trip. We were supposed to go, but then COVID happened and all these things. So we want to go to Egypt. We haven't been there yet. But we went to all the museums in United States that has Egyptian exhibits. We just went to New York for the spring break this week, and we went to the Egyptian section and spent like hours over there. So basically, I have been to different places, but I think the most fascinating place was to go to Mexico and Chichen Itza. That's basically the Mayan culture, Mayan
Mm.
civilization. Very similar to Indus Valley civilization. It just vanished one day. Nobody knows why.
Mm.
And all they have left is the ruins and the temples, and
Mm.
how advanced they were engineering wise. Like obviously Indus Valley, it's hard to go now, but
Mm.
at least going back to the Mayan civilization and looking at those things I was amazed that how advanced in science and technology these people were, and like how so many centuries down the road we still marvel at those things. So like I have been to these kind of places
Wow.
where I have like just the Stonehenge in UK. I
Oh,
mean, those kind of places, like fantastic. Like even if you go to Paris, look at Eiffel Tower, and you think, how the heck did these people do this at so many years ago? So now people talk about designing everything in artificial
yeah.
intelligence and making it perfect and this kind of things. Like
Hmm.
I always marvel at the technology and the thinking
Hmm.
behind all this great stuff. So
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I think you spoke about one couple of similarities between both of us. Of course, I think the fact is that even while studying in BIT Meshra, we used to be in the same lobby, and I think we used to interact a lot. And then, of course, I spoke about I've got two daughters like you. And then the third thing is that even I had made a plan to go to Egypt in March 2020, and then of course because of COVID, I had to cancel. My wife's younger sister, she is based out of Egypt. So she keeps on inviting us
oh
for
wow,
more than 10 years, and we are still
oh my gosh,
booking
you should
plan.
you should go as soon as possible.
Yeah, so I'm going to make the booking now. I'll tell her I'm going to make a call to her saying that, I just spoke with Kaushik and he has inspired me. Here we come, and she's going to thank you because she has been asking us to come make a plan. Very nice,
Wow.
amazing. And I think, of course, this is heart-to-heart conversation, but I think even in the days of BIT Mishra, we used to have another heart-to-heart conversation, our lives, already we used to talk about. So I think I always felt that closeness from you. And I think this was not only me, I think everybody used to very, very friendly and pally with you. So great, amazing, Kaushik. It's more than 1 hour. And I think
Yeah.
there is a lot more that we are yet to discuss. I wish you even shinier and happier days. And I think, of course, my daughter sometime may like to talk to your daughter. And I think
Sure.
there are many people in India who have this dream or this goal, this ambition to send their kids outside. Maybe we can have another session which will only be focused on what are those do's and don'ts so that people can get into some of these universities. But I think
Yeah,
it's
I mean, I would
certainly
just say, yeah, I know we are way over time, but I also have to go to another engagement. But I'll just say from a kid's standpoint, and this is not my philosophy, this is my wife's philosophy. I just try to follow the maximum I can. Is basically there is no formula to success. It's just that keep them busy, stay engaged in their life and their activities, instill the sense of responsibility, including volunteering and helping others, and basically talk to them, like make them good human beings, try to make them aware of what's going on, and let them figure it out for themselves, like that's all we can do. So
awesome, awesome. You spoke about the fact that I think it's already more than 1 hour, and you said that you've got to go to some place. I think this is the picture of celebration in USA, isn't it?
yes,
So,
yeah.
also, would you like to? Can we take 1 or 2 minutes while talking about the life in general? Anything which you'd like to share while being in USA? I think you have lived in many countries, many cities in USA, different parts, New Jersey and some of these places.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, so when I came to study first, when I came from India to United States, I came in Washington DC because George Washington University is in Washington DC. So I
Uh,
started here. And then I went to New Jersey for 4 years or 5 years. That is where I met my wife, and my older daughter was born there. So we then moved to Oklahoma City for 1 year because I was deploying some 3G at that time, like the UMTS and 3G technology for a firm, big firm, AT&T over here. And then I came back to Washington D.C. again. I got a managerial role here, got a leadership opportunity, and since then we have been here. So since
uh,
2007, so it has been close to a long, like 2007 to 23. So yeah, 16 years we are back here, kind of, So
Beautiful.
regarding life in US, it's very different. Like obviously a lot of people see different aspects of it.
Yeah.
Like when like of course I drive a nice car, I have a nice home and everything, but it's also you have to be very self-sufficient. You can do not get help for many things easily. Like in India, you have domestic help, you have handyman, you have other things like people serve you in a different capacity. So here it's a little bit more self-reliant, self-sufficient. But like once you get a little bit well settled, you can afford a few things. Like for example, you can get lawn mowing service if you want. But a lot of people do it on their own just to keep healthy or physically active. Like so it's very different lifestyle. Of course, I have talked to friends who are in India. Their kids are just going to a good school. They're on their own. Parents' involvement on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis is not that much. Whereas in US, the parents have to be very involved. They have to drive the kids to the practice. The kids cannot just play on their own. They have to go to a structured practice. So very different, lifestyle. It's very engaged. It's hectic. It's very hectic.
Very, 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 very interesting. Thank you so much, Kaushik. I think in this conversation, we have got some very, very powerful life transformational lessons we spoke about. And we started this conversation with you talking about staying hungry for learning, for growth, for making it better, for thinking bigger, and staying foolish in a manner that we do not get a feeling that we know it all. I think you said it so well. And of course, let's keep on learning something with each passing day. And audience, this is the message for all of you. Just think it over. It's not only a set of 4 words which were said by Steve Jobs. I think many people have been talking about it, but I think many people do not get the essence of it. Stay hungry, stay foolish. And thank you so much, Kaushik, for sparing this little more than 1 hour with us. I think it has been amazing talking to you. And look forward to once again. Have a great,
yeah, absolutely. Happy to be help to you and your audience anytime. So
thank you so much. Our audience, thanks you. Let me put this clap on behalf of all of them. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.